a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beach dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
March through the classics continues with 1961's The Parent Trap. Wikipedia says, although the plot is very close to that of the 1945 film Twice Blessed, The Parent Trap is based on the 1949 German children's novel Das doppelte Loschen by Erich Kästner. I only looked that up because I got the girls' names wrong or backwards or mixed up during the first part of this movie and wanted to fix that. Distributed by Buena Vista, which means we're going to start with credits. We have a cross stitch that says, Bless Our Broken Home. We're told it's starring Haley Mills and Haley Mills. That's funny. We start with a Rankin Bass style animation and song about divorce. I'm sure all marriage counselors show this, or they should. I don't know, guys. Something about watching a marriage implode in claymation feels off, but the kids want to save the relationship with a parent trap, is what I'm getting. Let's go. Over 2 hours. Oh, I will say this about the poo tapes we watched all February. I think 4 February poo tapes were shorter than one of these March Through the Classic VHS tapes. They're so long. The opening shot is like 100 real-life extras. That's something you're never going to see again. The chauffeur is dropping off some rich little girl at a camp. McKendrick, that's her last name, Sharon McKendrick with the long hair. She's rich, and she's worried that her tent won't be properly ventilated. I feel like she's a fish out of water, folks, but she's adapting. At lunch, she ends up face-to-face with this short-haired girl who looks exactly like her. That's eerie. That's Susan Evers. The girls keep staring at each other. We meet Chief Eaglewood from the boys' camp. He's a bald white guy who says, "These girls look like a crackerjack group of young women." They announce that Saturday night there's going to be a dance, but the catch is that the girls can't have demerits. So keep your tents clean because, quote, dirty girls don't go to dances. And let me be the first to tell you that dirty girls most certainly do go to dances. The girls who look identical to each other call each other ugly, which is just weird and funny. One tips the other's canoe, and then she retaliates that night by breaking into the cabin and, quote, bootstrapping the place, dropping mud and grass on all the girls while they're asleep. And of course, there's an inspection first thing the next morning. That particular tent is not ship-shape. Demerit! We jump to the dance. Some beau is walking with the short-haired girl who tells him she misses her lipstick because she feels absolutely naked without lipstick. The other girl sneaks up and cuts the, butt out of her dress. I guess. So the music starts back up and she walks back into the dance with her butt hanging out and everyone laughs. And I guess that's a funny gag. Got her. The 2 girls go face to face and they go to a slap fest, which turns out into an all drag out, knock down brawl that knocks over tables. And of course, a cake ends up on the main camp lady's face. We jump forward and the 2 look like they're in front of the camp council. They think the girls are actually twins and they get sidetracked with the punishment because of their amazing resemblance. We get a let the punishment fit the crime talk, and now the girls are marched out of the main camp area, all luggage in tow. We're like 10 minutes in and I'm exhausted from typing. It's going to be a long night, folks. The 2 of them are quarantined together for the last 4 weeks of camp. The camp lady says they need to learn to live with each other or they will punish each other far better than she ever could. It's good stuff. Susan is putting up black and white pictures of the 60s heartthrobs on her wall. When the wind picks up and blows all the pictures off the wall, Sharon runs to close the window and Susan begrudgingly says, thanks. Susan's picture of Ricky Nelson got ruined, and that's the markings of a terrible day. Susan shows Sharon a picture of her dad and says that her own dad is kind of hot, which is weird. Then the picture she shows is of him smoking, which is also great. Sharon doesn't know her dad. They both agree that soon there will be more divorces than marriages. This is 1961. They say this in 1961, and they were correct. They're both 13, and both have their birthdays on November 12th. Missed it by 1 day, ladies. Missed it by 1 day. Magic. Long hair is like, isn't it weird we look the same and we have the same birthdays? And short hair's like, what do you mean? Sharon shows Susan a picture of her mom, and that's also the picture of her mom she has from her childhood. Could someone just look into the camera and say, we're twins already? The other one cries, one is happy, they meet in the middle with a hug, both are happy now. Under an hour to go. The girls roll around that mom and dad are probably still in love and come up with a plan, or more like a trap. A parent trap. They're going to switch places. Just hold on one Lindsay Lohan moment here. If they switch, they would have to unswitch. At one point, a mother would have to take her to California to unmix them. And then long hair gets to work and cuts her hair short. They practice each other's mannerisms. The split screenshots are really good for 1961. They quiz each other about their home and routines. But I never bite my nails. You gotta bite your nails. I always bite my nails. Bite them. Camp ends and there's a girl who's sad that she can't take her skunk home. And that's a callback to week 1. Mom calls for Sharon and they're like, remember, Mom has to come to California. Dad can't come to Boston because Boston sucks. And no one ever falls in love in Boston because it's not romantic. Take that, Boston. Parent Trap's coming for you. I gotta say, this is actually a really, good premise, right? The maid is all up in the girl's grill for cutting her hair. She warns everyone that Grandpa won't like her hair, but Grandpa comes in and gives her a big hug, and she smells him, she sniffs Grandpa, and he's like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm making a memory. She's like, I'll always remember how you smelled like tobacco and peppermint. Mom comes downstairs to see Sharon, and this gal is meeting her mom for the first time, and this moment has weight. Mom is like, why are you crying? The ladies hate her hair, but Grandpa sticks up for her new short hair, but it's actually the old short hair because they did the switcheroo with the other girl. Okay, Grandma grills her. Are you a boy or a girl? Make up your mind. Hashtag 1961. She makes up an imaginary boyfriend to open the dialogue about relationships and marriage with her mom. This girl is good. She's like, tell me about when you and Dad got married, and segues into talking about Dad, and she grills her about her first date. Oh, he took her to Marintelli's, a jazz club in New York, and they played a song that Mom sings to this girl who's just sponging up all this information. They're also walking in front of a painful green screen. We transition to California, and Thing 2 meets Dad for the first time. He comes running up. Susie! She gets into character. She chews her nails, and he's like, you're still chewing your nails? And she goes, you noticed! That's funny. On the drive home, Dad's like, well, a few things changed while you were gone, but she doesn't want to talk about them right now. He calls out for Vicky when they get home, and wait, who is Vicky? The maid comes out, that's not Vicky, and is instantly skeptical, and the dog barks at her. Dog, what's up with you? This is Susie. Don't you remember Susie? She asks the maid who the woman downstairs is, that Vicky girl. She's like, I don't want to tell you. But your dad has a young girlfriend, and she knows a million reasons she wants to be with her dad, and they're all in the bank. Snap, that's what the maid says. She's a gold digger. Let's go. Susie meets Vicky, and Dad leaves them alone so the girls can get to know each other, and the nails come out immediately. Vicky's like, I find your dad special. And her like, yeah, she takes all the hose out. Yeah, he's always playing the field every week. He has a different dame up here. One time, he had a 5-woman orgy. And well, kid doesn't actually say that. She basically says that in 1961 speech. The girls phone each other now because the sirens are going off. She's like, Dad has a girlfriend. And Sharon's like, Susan, listen, Dad has a girlfriend. You need to bring Mother out here immediately. And Susan's like, Sharon, I've only been here one day with Mom. Do your job and break them up, you amateur. Click. I don't have time for this. Click. The next day, Dad is walking with her and she's like, tell me about my mother. And he's like, what? Your mother? Last thing I heard, she went to Spain and married a drunk. Wow. Good job, Dad. And he says, no, I lost track of her. And he goes, you wouldn't like her anyway, because she, quote, had big bearing eyes, frizzy red hair, and was fat. She was really fat, end quote. Wow, Dad, good job. We see Vicky and her mom talking in private, and Vicky's like, I hate that kid. And Mom's like, just think of that property in California and smile through it. Gold digger. Dad asks his daughter what he thinks of Vicky. The maid figures out that it's the wrong twin. She's got an idea. Back to Dad asking her about Vicky. He's like, what do you think about her joining our family? And she goes, oh, I would love a sister. And he's like, no, as your mom. That was a funny exchange. She throws a tantrum and storms off. Vicky corners Susan. She tries to throw men under the bus, but she's not having any of it. The kid's too smart. She gets right in her face and is like, I can't blame my dad for falling for you. You're very nicely put together. Vicky is like, I love your father because A, B, C, D, and E. And the kid says, well, that's refreshing because most just want him for his money. And wow, that stuck a nerve with Vicky. Sharon gets a telegram and it's a cryptic message to call her at 3 a.m. What an unnecessary scene that was. They could have just called it. No, it has to be 2.5 hours. At 3 a.m. they call, but Grandpa eavesdrops because he's up at 3 a.m. and now he knows they did the switch. Now Sharon comes clean and is like, I'm not Sharon, I'm Susan. And now the kids need to switcheroo, and she's like, Sharon's with Dad and riding my horse and having a great time, and I'm stuck here with you. Well, it's time to take the girls back. She's like, what now? We go 6 months with you and 6 months with Dad, back and forth like a yo-yo. Weird scene with Grandpa suddenly being all passive-aggressive with his daughter as she's getting packed to take the twin back. He's like, I love how you refuse to bend to the new trends and you still wear all your old clothes and your dated haircut. Mom is like, oh, okay, well, you know what? When we fly to California, let's stop in New York for a few days so the girls can shop. Dad is staring at the horizon and he asks his friend, do you ever get that feeling that a storm's coming? And his friend goes, nope, can't say that I do. And they say, all right, and they ride off on their horses. Scene change. We finally reunite. We get both girls at Dad's place, and Mom asks, what do you think of each other? What a question. They tell Mom that Dad's getting remarried, and Mom has a weird reaction. The maid says their dad is dating someone so young, he must be slipping into his second childhood. Well, he's slipping into something. Saturday's wedding is a go, and it's crunch time for the twins. They gotta act fast to destroy everyone's lives, but to be fair, Vicky is a total. Dad goes upstairs to have a shower, and there's a bra hanging on the door. Dad is confused, and he walks around the house holding this bra. As you do when you find a bra. Mom is legit sneaking around in the garden trying to catch a glimpse of Vicky or Dad or both. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Dad spots peeping Mom and goes outside, but whoa, bumbles and falls in the lake. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I've lost the plot with this one. Maybe the bra was Dad's. I don't know. He walks inside and he sees his wife or ex-wife and they immediately start fighting. Sorry, gals. This isn't going to work. They watch on as their plan burns down. These two are not compatible. Dad meets the other twin that moment, though, and this has some weight. Now, Mom and Dad want to talk, and Sharon looks her dad in the eyes and says, Daddy, please don't marry that woman. Mom Maggie says she thinks his fiance is great, except her eyes are too close together. Maggie's walking around in his bathrobe, and Dad is like, Vicky is going to come in here, see you wearing just my bathrobe, and think that we just... They can't say it because it's 1961. Then they physically fight. Ex-mom punches ex-dad in the eye, like for real. And then, like, Maggie's the bad guy here, right? She's actively now on board trying to break this man up who's engaged to be married. Like, this is not kind of cool. He lays down with his sore eye, and Maggie, in his robe, lays on top of him to look at his eye. And no one would do this. The priest walks in, they're on top of each other. Oh, we're down to 40 minutes. Okay, he starts running his wife down to Vicky in the next scene. He's like, my ex-wife's an old hag. She has kids and she's withered. And she's a troll now. Wonderful. Mom comes downstairs and is like, nice to meet you, Vicky. You're so beautiful and so young. But she says that to Vicky's mom instead, accidentally on purpose. And that's funny stuff. So passive-aggressive. It's all catty stuff right here. The gals get to know each other. I'm like, why does Mom care? Is she legit still into her ex again? She's kind of the bad guy here in this movie right now. The girls set up a dinner theater for Mom and Dad in the backyard. And again, Mom seems like she's into this forced date and breaking Dad up with Vicky. But Dad is just annoyed. As he should be. This is the famous scene, though, from the movie that I know all the scenes from the Disney Scene It DVD board game use clips of. And to be fair, this is actually great. They sing, let's get together, and how they shoot around using one girl as twins in this part is pretty amazing for 1961. Mom and Dad are loving this. The maid gets into it and starts playing the piano as the girls both sing and dance. Turns out the kids are recreating their parents' first date from the information she got for her recon mission earlier. The tone of this movie is all off. Like, I can't get over how the mom is conspiring with her, like, twin 13-year-olds and actively trying to sabotage her ex-husband's pending wedding. The dad is unfazed and is like, yep, well, that was swell. Anyway, I guess we're going to do the 6-month split with the twins. 6 months with you and 6 months with me. And the mom, Maggie, says, I'm depressed. And he's like, do you not remember how we always fought and we weren't compatible? And Maggie gets all mad and goes, compliment me! What? And Dad is like, well, you know I'm engaged. And Maggie loses her mind and has a tantrum and screams at him about his child bride. And this mom is just being a total hag right now. They finally come around. She's like, well, I'm leaving tomorrow, so I wish you the best with your child bride, Vicky. The next day, Sharon has to leave with Mom, and Susie is staying with Dad, but they won't tell their parents which is which makes it impossible. They blackmail their parents into going camping with the 4 of them, right? Just the family. And when they get back on Friday, the girls will tell their parents which is which so they can go home. Vicky, like, is the voice of reason to this. She's like, this is insane. You're going camping with your ex and your kids. And she's 100% correct. But then Mom, Maggie, outplays them all and is like, Vicky, girl, you have to come with us. Then at the last minute, Mom bails. So now it's just Vicky, the dad, and the twins. And I remember this storyline, this angle from the remake in the 90s. Mom's new play is to show Vicky how f***ing horrible being a parent with multiple kids and going camping actually is. Like being locked up with these kids in isolation for a few days, she's going to realize no amount of wealth is worth having these twins and kids and break it off with dad. What a great movie. They get to the woods and Vicky goes on offense. She pulls the girls aside and is like, you two with me and I'll make your lives horrible after I marry your dad. They wear her down though. Vicky is miserable out here. They swap her bug repellent with sugar water and the bugs eat Vicky alive. And she bangs sticks together like an idiot to keep the mountain lions away, which is another lie the girls told her. And everyone laughs at this bimbo idiot in the woods. There's 10 minutes left of this movie. Let's finish this up. Vicky wakes up the next day and bears are like licking her feet. She loses her mind and she's like, I hate this place. And she throws a tantrum. She kicks over like the picnic table and snaps Dad's fishing rods, and then she pushes Dad through the tent. And then, folks, we get this gift from the Disney gods.
You're twins. Do you share everything? Everything. Well, you give your sister her half of this. You give your sister her half of this. Her half of this.
It's been almost 300 weeks later, and I'm not sure I've ever expected something to happen less than that. Oh man. Parent Trap, 1961. Everything about that is wild. Vicky storms off to the wedding march music, and I guess that's it for Vicky. The girls did it. They broke them up. Hooray! The girls return home without Vicky and rejoice with Mom, and then Dad slumps behind them, dragging his feet. Time for him to settle for sloppy seconds. His ex-wife, right? Everyone wins. His ex-wife stands on a chair and shakes her at him, and she's like, I gave the housekeeper the night off, and the girls are in bed. So Dad goes from 6 to midnight, runs upstairs, showers, shaves, gets dressed up real nice, closes the girls' bedroom door, and runs back downstairs. Now he comes on to his ex-wife, and she's like, now, me in the kitchen in bare feet? He goes, I like your bare feet. Hey now, she says, it puts me at a disadvantage. And he goes, I like you at a disadvantage. Wow, this guy is pent up. This guy is ready to go. This is legit the hottest dialogue in any Disney movie I've seen yet. She turns around and is like, can you help me get out of this apron? And she's loving this attention. I have no idea what to think of this movie anymore. Upstairs, the girls put their ears to the door and listen to their dad railing their mom downstairs and high-five because their idea worked. It's all midnight noises until we jump ahead and Mom and Dad are getting remarried. Okay. So much of this was good. So much of this was bad. So everything worked out in the end, I guess.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.
Okay, Macy.
I'm still Jenny from the block.